Now, welcome to World Chefs Podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar Fredriksson, and you're listening to World on a Plate. Today, we're talking about health meets food and culinary medicine. So I'm pleased to welcome today's guest, who is Chef Karl Guggenmos. Karl is a certified master chef. He's a culinary educator, spent many, many years teaching at the Johnson and Wales University, served as their Dean of Culinary Education, and helped shape the future of culinary instruction with planning, designing, and implementing educational programs. And in addition, Karl is also an expert in culinary medicine. Recently, he was featured as a speaker at the American College of Culinary Medicine at the 2025 Health Meets Food event. So let's just dive in. I just want to start by welcoming Karl. Thank you for joining us, Karl.
Hello, Ragnar. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I think it's an honor to be here,
Right.
and I'm excited to talk about health meets food or the culinary medicine because it's my passion in the last 10 years. Besides my obviously my profession, so yeah, a lot of things going on.
Excellent. And Karl, you are no stranger to the to World Chefs and to the show. You've been involved for a long time, and we had the opportunity to discuss previously on different topics. And
Long time ago,
Mm,
yeah, it's quite a journey that sometimes I sit here and say, how did I get here?
yeah,
After all this year, I've been in this business, in the food business, for 61 years,
yeah,
and it's amazing. I started as a very, very lowly apprentice in Europe, in my hometown Augsburg. And I never thought, the 14-year-old, that one day I end up over here talking about culinary medicine. It's
well,
like,
precisely because I mean you've been involved in our Feed the Planet sustainability education programs and
yeah,
our development programs with at Sunrise in Singapore with Dr. Kwan, who you are close to as well. And here you are again and talking about culinary medicine. So maybe let's start by maybe telling our listeners more about what is culinary medicine, what is the
yeah.
approach.
Um, you probably need a little background from myself and
Yes.
from the program. Again, that was a very lowly beginning when we started that. So as the university dean at Johnson Wales, I was charged with overseeing the programs and also coming with a vision and having a passion for it. How is education going to go? And it was maybe 15 years ago or longer that I started to become aware of, or sort of was instilled in my thinking, we have a responsibility to our white coats, to what we set in front of our guests and to health, then the potential harm that we're doing. If you really dig into it, heart disease is the leading cause of death. Diabetes is on the rise everywhere, and many other nutrition related illnesses. And for most of my career as a chef, to be honest, I didn't care.
Mm.
When you think about why we eat, I had a big project to do in Saudi Arabia, and they asked, well, what is the pivotal idea behind this? And I said, well, the question is, why do we eat? Two reasons. We eat for pleasure, obviously, and we eat or supposed to be eating for sustaining a healthy body and providing the energy that the body needs to sustain itself. Over the decades in Western society and others, by the way, not just ours, we have kind of switched the paradigm that the primary reason, 80% why we eat is for pleasure. And little attention was given to what it does to our body. We started a nutrition program at Johnson Wales and it went very well. And then I met with the department chair and said, well, if we want to go beyond that, we need other stakeholders. And the one that was missing was the medical community. Because other than that, if we're not going to get them involved, we can't make any progress. So we went to another university. Kind of funny anecdote. We went to the dean of the medical school, and she listened to us, and we asked, "Is there any way to cooperate?" And she had this benevolent look on her face, and said, "Well, we educate physicians, you teach chefs and cooks. We don't have anything in common. We don't. There's no cooperation in those two fields." And we were rather taken back, and the department chair was very upset. And I said, "Don't worry, the right thing will come at the right time." And it was exactly about 3 months later, I got a cold call from Dr. Harlan. He was at that time the director of medicine at Tulane Medical School. And he told me that he got a mandate from his dean, who had served as the medical dean at Harvard for a number of years. He had come to Tulane, and he felt that it is high time that medical students know about culinary. Otherwise, we're going to go down that road, and it's going to be no return. So we put our heads together. To make long stories short, we started a program for medical students to take courses within the medical curriculum, calling culinary medicine. We really didn't know what that meant at the time. We had no idea what this culinary medicine actually mean, but we came up with the idea that we need to do something, and we did. And a good portion of the medical students, to our surprise, signed up for the course. It was really mind-boggling that that happened at a very premier medical school. And we then started to move out of the medical profession and came with the idea that sort of my favorite cliche, if you will, bringing the two white coats together. White coats in the kitchen and the white coats in the medical field, because otherwise we're not going to make any difference. If you don't have the buy-in from these stakeholders, and they were other stakeholders, but those were the most important ones. And we came up with this program called the Goldring Center at Culinary Medicine at Tulane. Then it started to sort of explode over the last few years or even decade. We developed the idea that we really need to bring the silos or break down the silos. We determined by studying this whole field that there are silos that people work in. There are the physicians, there are researchers, there are healthcare professionals, there are other people like the government. They all work in their silos, but nobody talks to each other. Everybody does their thing, but there's no connection between all those silos. And that was one of the goals for us, to break down those silos. And then we developed the Health Meets Food Conference, where we would bring down people from all different walks of life and come together, share knowledge, and work on breaking down those silos. And that's really where we are today.
Right.
Now, the definition of what we came up with over the last 10 years for how we define culinary medicine is that culinary medicine has often been defined as the new evidence-based field in medicine that blends the art of cooking and cooking with the science of medicine. And I think it's really making great progress. And the point in case is our conference this year in New Orleans was sold out. And we hope that this will continue. We had so many other people join us. Physicians are on our board. All kinds of people from different stakeholders are playing a part on this now. And one other thought is that for decades or even longer, we have the medical profession as large has focused on a cure for various diseases rather than prevention.
Mm,
And that is really the key. Now, how does the other white coat, the chefs, fit into this? I think if anything gets through from my input today or any other time, is that we need to live up to our responsibility as chefs, as cooks, and world chefs can play a major role. We have a stake in this to keep our population healthy without without destroying the pleasure of eating. It's a big myth, and we did a lot of busting on our conferences that there is a myth that eating healthier is not very pleasurable, and that simply is not true.
mm, mm. And so
But that, in essence, is it. Now we came up. I can give you the current definition that we have for the various stakeholders on culinary medicine. So we divide up because one size doesn't fit all. So we came up with these definitions, and they're very short, so I can just read it, and then you can have some more questions. To the healthcare professionals, culinary medicine is a multifaceted field that bridges the gap between the most up-to-date evidence-based nutrition, science, and culinary tradition. It's very important to differentiate between evidence-based and anecdotal. Anecdotal, and for lack of a better example, is like there's a group of six that go in that are put in a room and funded by some company, and they're given some vitamins, and after that they feel better about with their stomach, and all of a sudden that's the answer to your stomach problem. You need to eat, and then they go online and promote that you got to eat this, you got to eat this. Evidence-based is true science-based, and it takes a long time to come up with true evidence for something. So that's the healthcare professional. Again, for the food service professional, is culinary medicine is the convergence of fields, the breaking down of silos, and the uniting of these two white coats. Culinary medicine is the cost-conscious, smart solution to good health based on nutrition science and classical culinary techniques. So it incorporates everything that the chef would need. So it's cost-conscious, so it's not going to be too expensive, and good health based on nutrition science. Again, evidence-based science, not anecdotal. So the chef can make really educated decisions how he can help his customers and have a healthy experience. But I would caution that chefs do not put down, like if they put a menu item on, that they're not going to say, well, this is very healthy, heart healthy, because I can tell you people are not going to order it. But they have an aversion to being told, oh, this is healthy. Because when they go out, let's say in New Orleans or somewhere else, or in Europe or in the Middle Eastern restaurant, like you go out to eat in Istanbul, the last thing you want to be told that this is healthy, this is a healthy shawarma. Just make it healthy and don't say anything.
that's right.
Cut down whatever you can, and it will be all right. Otherwise, you have a problem on your hand because people don't want to go. And people also, it's unfortunate, but they will say, "I want to eat healthy," but then when it comes to the actual doing it, then they're not there yet, and that's the statistics. That's very unfortunate, and we're working very hard to keep working on the prevention rather than on the cure. You don't want to say, like a physician, when they come in to see a physician, they're going to say, well, your cholesterol is 600, your hemoglobin is up, your blood sugar is spiking, and your obviously physicians have told us they're not telling the people, you know that you're obese. Yeah, they already know that. So they're going to look at, say, well, let's see how we can make you live healthier. And not concentrating on weight loss, but certainly that's part of the equation. And I was told before that, let's say, a lot of people say diabetes, that obesity causes diabetes. That's really not true in the truest sense of the science. Diabetes is a marker of diabetes is a marker of being obese. It's not the cause. It's more of a metabolic issue where you're changing from consuming more and or creating energy from sugar rather than oil, rather than fat. And that's what causes a lot of these problems. You know, you could be very, very healthy looking, skinny, but still have organ fat that causes a lot of problems.
Mm.
But no, I know it from my family. I tried, before trying to be the food police. It doesn't work.
And you
Uh,
mentioned earlier, we see in later years, why we should be so well fed, is that you mentioned we have more obesity, more heart-related, more food-related disease related to what we eat. I mean, do you
Correct.
have any explanation for that?
Yeah, I mean, the explanation is that we changed our habits, our lifestyle. It has become more convenient in many ways, and it certainly permeated the food. We should eat, well, we eat for two reasons. Again, that's always my mantra is for pleasure and for sustaining a healthy body. The problem is that we have switched from focusing on the pleasure, which I did for much of my career. I looked at the pleasure. It's got to look good, taste good, feel good, and so on. But being healthy was not my problem as a chef.
Right.
But again, then I come to the conclusion, it is my problem. It is all of our problem because the cost of nutrition-related illnesses is staggering. As I mentioned, that heart disease is the leading cause of death, following by stroke and other diabetes and so on. And it's also, it's not just here, it's everywhere. But we switched from natural ingredients to processed ingredients like refined sugar, which many in our circles call it the evil number one, because it just causes so many problems. And in sodas, I know that's a very bad thing to say, but it's the truth, and the truth hurts sometimes. But we can't be the food police. We have to try by educating and breaking down silos and making sure that we understand we have a stake in this whole equation of living better. My family here, I chuckled when I moved here. I always use fresh ingredients, and that's really the key. Natural ingredients, and like you said, that it's homemade, it's fresh made, it's mostly healthy, or for the most part. And when we change here to much more, many more in like fresh ingredients instead of the sugar snacks and cookies, and my teenage granddaughter's friends came over and they told us that, Brent, your house is an ingredient house. You don't have any snacks or anything. And she said, yeah, because my opa is make sure we have ingredient. It's an ingredient house. And the
Right.
other thing is sitting down dinner, eating at a table as a family. It's for not only good for mental health, but for metabolism, for digestion, and it's just incredible what it is.
Yeah.
So then, going on to definition, culinary medicine for the community nutrition director. You know, these are like people in hospitals and so on. Culinary medicine is the application of science and traditional knowledge coming together with familiar generational cooking to inspire communities to to achieve and sustain a nutritious eating behavior and better health. So a nutritious eating behavior is what we want to get to, and eating using fresher, more better ingredients. And there's a myth in like for hospital foods, and have and in food in big canteens for that serve the community is has a bad reputation, but it doesn't have to be. You can make it, and even for schools, for kids. My son, I remember, worked in a school system before and created healthy, fresh ingredients, or had used healthy, fresh ingredients and cooked for the kids. And if done right, and the flavor profile is good, then they will eat it. It's not saying, well, the kids won't eat vegetables. It's
Correct.
not true. That's one another problem. And then finally, saying to the consumer and the community member, culinary medicine is empowering individuals to make decisions about nourishing the body, to prevent chronic disease and maintain good health while still feeding their soul. And the soul meaning the pleasure. And that's really the key to it, that you can make informed decisions what ingredients to buy and how do they work together. Like what happens to your body when you eat a tomato, or if you eat garlic, or if you eat fresh broccoli, or if you eat. It doesn't have to be really scientific, just so you know that it sustains you in a much better way, and it provides and go into simple ingredients. And we strive very much at our conferences, at our meetings, that we bring the language of the science, which is complicated. I found out the hard way, because I half the time I don't know what they're talking about when they have all their the Latin names and all the long names of what this food is and what this is and what it does. So one time I was at a meeting and they were talking about some very complicated cardiac issues with related to food, and I asked the doctor. There was a doctor next to me. I said, "Do you know all these terminologies?" And he said, "Heck no." He said, "We scientists and researchers and doctors, when we come up with something, we are prone to give it some complicated name that only we understand it."
Yeah.
And in reality, that's the problem. You need to bring it down to the chef's level to say, okay, if I do this, if I apply this cooking method, or if I buy this ingredient, this is what's going to happen to you. Very simple.
Correct.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and so to actually to talk about the health meets food curriculum. So this is where you have an impact, empowering healthcare providers to improve the patient outcome through food. Is that a collaboration? Is that for chefs as well? Is that a collaboration between chefs
Correct.
and
Oh, absolutely. For our Health Meets Food conference, we always have programs and speakers that speak to the science, that are researchers, physicians, government officials, and so on. But we also have culinarians that speak. And we do have hands-on skill building for physicians. You'll be surprised when you take physicians in the kitchen, how much fun they have in there and how much they're interested in learning that. And I was surprised on my last, I did a presentation with Dr. Harlan. We called it the Two Old Chefs Having Fun in the Kitchen, telling them what cutting board to buy, and what are the implications on food safety, and what kind of cooking pots and pans they should use, so they're not going to have these chemicals. And let's say, for example, non-stick. There's still controversy about. I guess it's called PFTSA. It's a chemical. I don't not remember. On a plastic cutting board, that they're mostly polyethylene, that they're microchips that can come off. So it's really, really, really breaking down those silos and bring the two white coats together. to work together. It was amazing at Johnson Wales when the first time we had medical students come up and be in the kitchen with our students together and having the blast, really.
Yeah.
It was really amazing.
Yeah.
So we also have certifications. We have a certification for healthcare professionals. That it's a course we developed. It's an online course. It's a certified culinary medicine specialist. They really learn a lot about culinary medicine and about nutrition, and really helps them. And the certification is accredited by the here by, I believe it's American Medical Association. So if a physician takes that course, they get credit for continuing education. And it's also accredited by ACF here, and hopefully it will in the future with World Chefs Society. It would be great to have you on board. But then we also have a certification program for food service professional, and it's called Certified Culinary Medicine Professional. And you can find all this information very easily by finding our website. We are now have been designated last year as the American College of Culinary Medicine. And all of those, the courses there, the courseware is outlined, everything is captured.
Wonderful.
So it's easy to find.
We have these resources. If any of our listeners would like to understand better, I will take that link when we publish the podcast. We will actually put that link as well, so people can go to the podcast website and find all these wonderful resources that you have on that site and the opportunities for further education. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ragnar, if anybody wants to contact me, you can find me just first of all Google my name, Karl Guggenmos, or on online or what have not. You can easily find me.
Excellent.
And if you have any question or clarification, or you want to yell at me, that's okay too.
Thank you very much, Carl. And well, thank you for sharing all this. And definitely, it's a great topic, and we'll be continue to inform our members about the same. Just to remind everybody, we will have a World Chef Congress in Wales in 2026. Where we'll be bringing up the topics of all nature and medical cuisine is definitely a very modern and high profile topic. So we're looking forward to continue the discussion and with yourself, Carl, and everyone. So thank you for joining us.
Anytime. It was a pleasure to be here. Kudos to the two white coats.
Absolutely, to the power of the white jacket.
We can't do it without each other. We need each other.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Carl. Thank you for joining us. And
all right, you're welcome.
thank you,
Take
everybody,
care.
thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You're listening to World Chef Podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar Friedrichsson, and this is World on a Plate. Now, do not forget, I mentioned World Chef Congress. We have a special promotion right now, an early bird rate. If you want to sign up and save 200 euros on a full delegate pass, we have a special Young Chef passes as well with a great program. And you go to worldchef.org and register now for World Chef Congress in Wales in May 2026. Again, this is your host, Ragnar Friedrichsson. Thank you all for listening. Take care and bye-bye.